Her best friend stole her fiancé on her wedding day and humiliated her in front of everyone. But what they didn't know was that this betrayal would turn her into one of the most powerful women Chicago would ever see. This is the story of Emily Carter and how humiliation became the foundation of her greatest success. The wedding was held in a luxurious Chicago church. Flowers were perfectly arranged. Guests were already seated. Emily walked toward Jason wearing a starlight bridal gown. She believed today was the beginning of her future. Beside her stood Sonia, her best friend, the person she trusted the most. It should have been the happiest day of her life until the pastor spoke. "If anyone has objection to this marriage, speak now." The hall fell into terrifying silence. Before Emily could react, Sonia stepped forward. "I object." Her voice cut through the wedding like a blade. Emily froze. Her heart felt completely empty in an instant. Sonia looked at her and said, "Jason doesn't love you, Emily. He loves me. For the past 5 months we have been together in secret." Every eye in the church turned toward Emily. Jason showed no hesitation. He bowed his head, reached into his pocket, and without looking back, placed a ring on Sonia's finger. "I'm sorry, Emily. I love her." Then he turned around, held Sonia's hand, and walked out of the church, leaving Emily alone at the altar. The stairs around her felt like quicksand, pulling her under, stealing her breath, breaking her silently. But what nobody in that church understood that day was that humiliation would become the foundation of something unstoppable. The wedding video spread within hours. Bride replaced at altar. Best friend betrayal shocked Chicago. Millions watched. Some felt sympathy. Most were cruel. That night, Emily did not cry again. She removed her wedding dress slowly, as if removing a future she was no longer part of. She sat beside the window and watched the city lights. And for the first time in a long time, she began to rethink her life. She realized something painful. She had built her entire world around Jason. She had paused her dreams for him, and in the process, she forgot who she was. 3 days later, she opened a drawer she had not touched for over a year. Inside was a small fabric prototype, smart thread material, adaptive circuitry woven directly into clothing, a technology she believed could change the fashion industry. She called it Aurora, a wearable system capable of adjusting temperature, texture, and even color based on biometric signals. Jason once told her it was unrealistic. Focus on something stable. So she paused the project, for him, for the wedding she thought would secure her future. Now everything was gone, and Aurora was still there, waiting. That night, Emily opened her laptop. The project folder glowed on the screen. Aurora, Adaptive Fashion Interface. Her hands trembled slightly. Then she clicked. Design sketches, prototype notes, investor rejection emails. Too ambitious, too early, too expensive. She read them again, and instead of feeling smaller, something inside her shifted. This was not about proving Jason wrong. This was about remembering who she was before she built her life around someone else. She opened a new document, Aurora 2.0. The rebuild was not glamorous. Her savings were limited. 3 investors rejected her pitch within 2 months. One laughed politely. Another called wearable fashion a phase. The prototype overheated during testing. She burned her wrist fixing a wiring problem. Some nights she sat on the floor of her apartment exhausted, tempted to quit again. But humiliation can be powerful fuel. and she had plenty of it. Months became a year. Aurora evolved. Fabric that cooled under stress. Fabric that changed color with emotion. Fabric that responded to heart rate and temperature. Smart couture. Functional design. Finally, an investor leaned forward and said, "If this works, it changes everything." Funding came, slowly at first, then stronger. Headlines changed. Tech fashion startup gains attention. Atlanta founder reinvents wearable design. Emily stopped reading comments. She focused on building. 3 years later, the Atlanta Fashion Tech Summit was filled with designers, investors, and media. The banner across the stage read, "Aurora, the future of adaptive design." Backstage, Emily adjusted her blazer. Calm, steady. She was no longer the woman who once stood frozen at an altar. The host stepped forward. "Please welcome the founder and CEO of Aurora, Emily Carter." The applause was confident, earned. She walked under the stage lights and began her presentation. Behind her, models stepped forward wearing living fabric. Colors shifted softly. The material adapted seamlessly to body temperature. The crowd leaned forward in silence, impressed, stunned. Among them were Jason and Sonia. They had come out of curiosity. They did not know whose company this was, not until her name was announced. Jason's face turned pale. Recognition is a quiet shock. After the presentation, Jason approached her backstage. "I made a mistake," he said. Sonia stood behind him, silent. Emily looked at them. There was no anger left, only distance. "I know," she said. Reporters called her name. Cameras flashed. Jason tried to speak again, but she had already turned away. Because the opposite of love is not hate. It is indifference. That night, Aurora trended worldwide. Orders flooded in. Partnerships followed. Billboards lit up Chicago. And somewhere in the city, a wedding video still existed online. But it was no longer the end of her story. It was the beginning. They thought they humiliated her. They didn't realize they activated her. If betrayal ever pushed you to become stronger, this is your reminder. Sometimes,
don't let embarrassment define you. Let it refine you. The people who walk away, betray you, or underestimate you are not your final chapter. They're just a plot twist. What truly matters is what you build after the silence, after the tears, after the shock fades. When someone hurts you, don't rush to prove them wrong. Don't waste energy on revenge. Don't shrink yourself to feel safe again. Instead, ask yourself, who was I before I built my world around them? Pain can either make you bitter or it can make you better. The difference is focus. Shift your focus from what you lost to what you can create. And remember, the opposite of love isn't hate, it's growth. Sometimes the worst day of your life is just life pushing you toward the version of yourself you were too comfortable to become. Build quietly, heal intentionally, rise naturally. If betrayal ever pushed you to become stronger, this is your reminder. Sometimes the worst day of your life is the day your real story begins. Have you ever been betrayed by someone you trusted? Do you believe betrayal can make someone stronger? Share your story in the comments.